Most mid-level professionals today feel stuck at their jobs at some point. But that happens not because they're bad at their jobs. It happens because, the job doesn't feel like them anymore. The reality is that if you're in that 7 to 15 year experience bucket, you possibly have felt this at some point. And it's not because you've acquired the credibility, you've acquired your capability and are feeling a little lost. But it's because the environment around has changed. And there's a lot more flux than you're used to. So how do you look at reinventing your mid-career without really going back to zero? Well, it's the time to utilize that same credibility, the same capability, and your track record to move in a fresh direction that enables you to chart a brighter and a more enjoyable future for yourself. That's what I'm going to be talking about today in this broadcast. Hi, I'm Vikas Dua. Some of you already know me as the HR in my heart guy. I'm a people leader and I love sharing information about all things HR. I hope that you will like this video and consider subscribing to this channel as well. Thank you. Let's dive into the topic now. So first, let's discuss why does being at the mid-career stage feel like being at a crossroads? Why does it feel so intense? Now the truth is that if you look at market data, it clearly shows that most industries, most companies really look and hunt for talent in that 7 to 10, 12 year experience bucket range, right? But why do we struggle to get opportunities at that point? The thing is that at that stage in your career, you've already traversed a lot in the early years, picked up a lot of skills and are hoping to build on it. But beyond that mid-career range, what ends up happening is that the growth looks less linear. It starts to look a little confusing. And this is happening all the even more because of changes in our environment like I mentioned earlier. See, AI is accelerating shifts. Companies are becoming more and more flexible. We're moving away from rigid hierarchies to more project-based teams, and skills-first hiring or skills-first approach to work is becoming the norm. So many mid-career professionals describe this stage as one where they say, I'm not burnt out, I'm not failing, but I don't even know where I'm headed. When you say something like this, what it really means is one thing, that you've outgrown your previous career story, but you haven't written the next one. Now, a career reinvention is nothing but writing the next chapter intentionally, doing it with a lot of thought, clarity, and purpose. So, what's the difference between reinvention and starting over? Let's understand that reinvention means you don't start from zero. You use your strengths, your skills, your opportunities in a very smart and calculated manner. Think of 3 layers. Your expertise layer to begin with. What industries have you been part of? What functions have you played a role in? What roles have you played? Your capability layer. What you actually do. Is it analyze? Is it leading? Is it building? And your identity layer. What do you see yourself as? Are you a coach? Are you an expert? Are you a builder? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. Starting over often means experience is discarded and one also resets compensation. But when you reinvent, you keep all the layers intact in a way, capability and identity, and you just shift the context a little bit to maximize your gains. So for example, let's say an operations leader moves into ESG, transformation, or process excellence. A tech lead, for example, could move into internal consulting, architecture building, or AI transformation. Now, this is the same person, same skills, but a different context, right? Now, this is reinvention done smartly with a strategic mindset. One of the smartest strategies for reinvention is what I call the adjacent first strategy. You change one major variable at a time, not more. Change role, keep industry, or change industry, keep function, or change domain, keep company. Now, research is showing that internal rotation or lateral movements are becoming a key strategic play as far as talent goes in 2026. The reason is very simple. It reduces the risk for both companies as well as the individuals or professionals. So the situation is that you don't move from, let's say, finance to running a cafe straight away. What you do is possibly you move from, let's say, controllership to an FP&A role. Then you move into a commercial role and to a strategic role from there. Eventually, you transition into a business leadership role. Now, this really shows that you're not completely moving in different directions. You're just moving into adjacent growth roles. And that is what classic reinvention is when done in this style. Now, make a note of this very carefully. See, clarity rarely comes from thinking. It comes from testing. Yes, I want to repeat that. Clarity comes from testing. The truth is that one powerful idea for mid-level professionals is to do testing through prototyping. Now, instead of declaring that I'm going to become X now, What you end up doing is you think of 2 3 possible options for yourself, and then you run small controlled experiments to test out your play in those areas. Curious about doing some advisory work? Why not take up an internal advisory project or one with a startup, for example? Interested in people development? Well, why don't you run a workshop or organize a mentoring circle or coach someone in your network? Each one of your experiments will answer these 3 questions. Number 1, do I enjoy this? Number 2, am I good at it or will I become better at it over time? And number 3, will the market pay for it? Now realize one thing, that your answers or your future career path will not emerge out of one weekend of experiments. It will have to be done little consistently over a period of time, and these experiments will give you these answers that you're looking for. So keep at it. Once you're testing directions, you need evidence. See, future employers or even internal decision makers don't just look at your titles. What they really want is your record of your transferable achievements. What are the capabilities, skills that you have displayed in the past or you showcased recently, which will be transferable and utilized in a different context and environment? And how is that going to add value to them? One way to build that body of proof is to run what I call 30-day skill sprint. Each month you pick up one skill which is aligned to that direction of yours, and build that skill and showcase it in a productized or a tangible manner. It could be, for example, an SOP or a framework that you design. It could be a revised dashboard. It could be a piece of music, for all you know, and that will be presentable to whoever is evaluating you as hard proof that you've managed to construct something. In this way, you're making it very clear that you're not just collecting random certificates. You're actually creating proofs of concept. And over a period of a year, you will have 10 to 12 such products, so to speak, to show that yes, you have already arrived, or you already picked up the skill and you're ready to take on the mantle. You're not just aspiring for it anymore. Now, before you assume that to reinvent yourself, you will have to exit your current company, consider this. The fact is that most companies nowadays are very open and appreciative of internal mobility. The reason is very simple. Hiring external talent is becoming expensive and becoming risky as well. So your chances are of getting an opportunity within your own organization and making it your reinvention lab, so to speak, are very high. And here are some practical tips or things that you can do to make sure that you grab such opportunities. For starters, connect with your manager and have a heart to heart. Explain what's going on in your mind and what you aspire to do. But make sure that it's not just something vague like I want a shift or I want a change, but very clearly a project or an area of work that interests you, that you want to get into. You could look at secondment or rotational job opportunities within our organization if they exist. You could also volunteer, for example, in task forces or different committees or different projects at times when such options come to the table. Understand this: if you can reinvent internally, you get to keep your relationships, your tenure, and your story gets upgraded. However, if you choose to leave and move on, the fact is that you move on as a different version of yourself, an upgraded version. So it's a win-win on either front. Do keep in mind that this is classic reinvention without going back to zero. And that's what you should be aiming for if this is something you're looking at. I hope you enjoyed listening to this video. I'd love to hear what you thought about it in the comments. Do share and make sure that you follow my channel or my page, whatever the case may be. Looking forward to being back with yet another piece of advice in the future. I'm Vikas Dua, signing off for now.